You have the debt financing, equity financing, and convertible loans. So the first one, the classical loan, is due to be repaid. So you have to ask yourself, if you get a classic debt finance, do I have to funds in a few months or years to repay the loan? Actually, is that a possibility? Is that feasible or not? So it's less common in classical startups to have a debt only financing. Then you have the equity financing, which this presentation will later on focus when I hand over, which is very common in Switzerland and preferred. You actually share part of your shareholding with the investors. So either in a capital increase, or you give them from your own founder shares, part of them. Usually it's a capital increase where they become shareholders with all the rights there to associate it. So we will go into that in more detail just now. And then finally, just quickly, the convertible loans, which is also more and more common, especially now during COVID times. It has also picked up that we see convertible loan financings, which means basically you have an investor which gives a loan to the startup, which can then at a later stage be converted into equity. So it's not repaid, it's converted into equity. This enables you to postpone discussion on pricing for a little while, because if you cannot agree on the price, or if you want to defer it for the moment, then that's actually quite a good solution to have a convertible loan, and the conversion rate is then usually the one which is with a discount, the price which is handed over which is agreed on, if I can say it, in the next financing round.
A lot of times that the timing is really underestimated by the startups. Mostly the financing round as a whole will just take much longer than initially expected, and this is one of the issues startups tend to overlook the most. And the second pitfall is also something we see quite often, is that the term sheet is underestimated by the startups, because when you first see a term sheet, it says at the beginning that the term sheet is non-binding, or most of the clauses are non-binding. And many startups think of it as a letter of intent. And we really believe that it's crucial that you don't think of the term sheet as a LOI, with most clauses being non-binding, even though, yes, they are non-binding, but nevertheless, the term sheet is the blueprint and the foundation on which you build your financing round.
For what we can do when we talk about the price is help you with understanding the different concepts behind the price. And when you talk about the price, it's important to be precise. So what are we talking about exactly? For instance, when we say the value of the company, we say value when exactly? Value right now, or the value after the capital increase? Or when we say the price per share, how do we calculate the price per share? What is the basis for the calculation?
Fully diluted means that in the calculation, you also calculate all option rights and other rights which can be converted into shares at a later stage, even though they have not yet been converted, but they can be converted at a later stage.
There are a couple of things to remember. If you can avoid the anti-dilution, and there are good arguments against an anti-dilution. If you cannot avoid the anti-dilution, try at least to avoid a full ratchet, which is the most investor-friendly option. And again, if you have to choose between the narrow-based and the broad-based weighted average ratchet, go for the broad-based, which is the one most favorable to founders. And last but not least, try to or have the clause fall away if you do an up round. Or maybe another point too, request always a pay to play. Only those who invest may profit from such a clause.
We have basically 3 different types of preference rights, which is the liquidation preference, the dividend preference, and the subscription preference. And they all intend to protect the investor's investment.